Thank you so much. And Brad, I'm so impressed you pronouncing my name. So I actually had the absolute pleasure and privilege to start this conference on the workshop day, on this stage, talking about collaborations and how to form successful digital transformation initiatives. So I feel like this is coming a full circle, talking about change management. So the talk is related to AI, but maybe not what you immediately think. I am not going to talk about tools, prompt libraries, or the coolest model today. I am going to talk about something much more practical. What actually needs to happen at your institutions for AI to work? So, my name is Zsófia Bütter. It's not a 1+2 typo AI slope. This is how I actually write my name. And that's because it's written in alien Hungarian. So I did mention before, I am from Hungary. I started my adult life at the lab bench doing molecular biology. I also participated in shaping policy. And then as a consultant, I supported institutions in forming their research strategy. And now I'm working on products that help institutions in their research and enterprise operations. Throughout my career, I have seen institutions going through change. I have participated in it, I experienced it. So really what I'm going to talk about is not just theoretical background, but it's really what I have learned and experienced. So when we talk about change at universities, it really comes down to three things: the context and the ambition, the governance and stakeholders. We worked a lot on this on the workshop day, and the infrastructure and systems. And this is not something new. We know this, we've seen this before. And another thing that is not new is that professional services, you sit exactly at the intersection of strategy, university leadership, and systems. So your work is not about supporting change. You are implementing change. You are implementing change through defining workflows, operations, making output visible, translating policy into practice, and this is just to name a few. But let's talk a little bit about how all of this changes with AI. So when we look at the discourse, it is extreme. So either AI is going to transform everything, or it's going to break everything. And Max asked you on the first day, are you AI ready? What I would like to ask you, how do you feel? How do you feel about AI? So are you on the optimist side? Maybe hands up? Oh, I see a big optimist, Carlos. Great. More AI optimists? More on the pessimistic side? I saw that, Julie. Well, I had a really interesting conversation yesterday on the boat. And basically what we discussed is that it changes every half an hour. Like, it really depends when you ask me, which half an hour you ask me, like, I'm a pessimist, am I an optimist? But here I actually wanted to share with you a very personal and also very emotional story. So as of Sunday, I am pretty much an optimist. And that's because I am from Hungary. So you might have seen us on the news. So you might have seen us on the news. We had national elections. And a big take home that I had is that wherever you stand, what this election showed me is that social media can be misused. AI can generate horrible deepfake content. What really made the difference and what mattered is connection between people and collaborations forming. So when people collaborate, they can make impossible things happen. So I just really wanted to share that with you. Thank you so much. I'm really proud of my country and the people right now. So let's get back to the story. What we actually see is that, historically speaking, we struggle to predict the full impact of new technologies. So when we look at social science studies, we see that they found similar polarities over and over again with new technologies. So we've seen that with the radio, with the television. There is one example here on mobile phones. And I find that really funny because it's showing you like how everywhere your phone's ringing in your pocket, like you're running to catch the train, you are waiting somewhere, you're being handed a baby and your phone's just ringing. What happens today is that we are just with our phones in front of our faces. It's not really ringing, but it's in our hands all the time. When we sit on the train, when we're at conferences, and so on and so forth. So really, like, all of these technological advances had real material impacts on society, but not necessarily the ones that we expected. And that's because the outcomes were not only determined by technology. They were very much determined by how people, how society adopted these technologies. Oops. Go back. Yes. So again and again, we tend to overemphasize the power of technology and actually underestimate the individual and institutional influence over how technology gets adopted. So the question is not really what AI can do, but what your institutions, what universities want to achieve. What can legally be done? What is technically possible? And in all of this, where do you stand? What's your ethical position? So let me share some ideas, practical ways to plan changes that AI brings to university operations. So first of all, let's talk about AI's impact on the context and the ambition. So what you want to achieve. It's very important to bear in mind the academic identities. I know that there are many researchers, ex-researchers in this crowd, so probably you can relate to this. The extreme consensus. That is the very mechanism that protects academic integrity, but that can actually slow institutional adaptation. And again, professional services have a very important role in this, because you can serve as a bridge between experimentation and this extreme consensus. It's very important to clarify your vision, the scope, and success. So you need to define strategic intent. What outcomes would matter the most? Is it funding success? Is it operational efficiency? And which domains will you pilot first? So AI will not define your strategy, but it will very quickly expose if you don't have one. Also, we know that research is inherently built on the culture of quality control, the culture of data collection and digitalization. So this is really something to build on, because this is not always the case when we talk about university operations. Now, second, let's look at AI's impact on governance and stakeholders. So really, what is allowed to do? It is very important, as in any change management exercise, to define your governance framework. A decision-making body that is supported not only by the technical advisory groups, but also by ethical advice. Do agree on the success metrics. How will you know that you are heading in the right direction? Or how will you know what success will look like? Define the guardrails, the principles, the policy. Institutions must feel that AI is safe, it is governed, it is compliant, and it is ethically defensible. Without clear governance and risk frameworks, sooner or later, scales can stall. Technology will scale your processes, but it is really the trust you build within your institution and beyond your institution that will make people move. Build capacity, manage the knowledge that you build. We just talked about it in the last session, how important it is to educate your staff and faculty. Build a shared knowledge base and build that community of practice together. Let me share another anecdote. I have a good friend who is in Hungary helping institutions on their AI journey. And while she's giving a lot of trainings, helping people to understand the basics, she's also telling people, think about this as a vacuum cleaner. Understand what it does, understand the risks, don't leave your AirPods around, but also don't be afraid to use it because it can be to your benefit. And third, what can technically be done? So the systems. I think this is also something that came up several times throughout this conference. Data infrastructure is critical. So AI systems will heavily depend on high-quality institutional data. So there is an increased focus on data governance and interoperability. But it also means that data management really moves from being an administrative task into building strategic infrastructure. Building this strategic infrastructure, you also need to count for the increasing demand on your digital infrastructure. So on the increasing demand of computing powers, storage, network capacity, cybersecurity, and ultimately, when you look at vendors and tools, the question will no longer be who has the smartest algorithm, but rather who can provide trusted infrastructure that can serve the research ecosystem. So to end up, I would like to leave you with this important thought. Technology invention does not mean adoption. And what I would like to take home from this is that AI will not determine your future's institution, your institution's future, but the way you structure, the way you govern your workflows, your data, your operations, the way you work with your people will. Thank you very much. And actually, if we have a little bit of time,
sure.
I wanted to turn things around a little bit. I wanted to ask the audience if you were willing to share one small or big AI success that you have seen in your institution and what it actually revealed about how your organization handles change. I don't have any built-in people, so please. Brian, thank you.
I think what surprised me the most is that I think most people think of government as being slow to adopt change, and of all things, they were able to release the ability for us to access AI from multiple different vendors right away, and it's been adopted lab-wide. Like, everyone can use it. They're actively monitoring it. Now comes the hard part of training us all how to use it better, but it was immediately accessible, and it's probably almost been a year since it was available to the whole company. So just really changes your idea of what's possible. So really positive.
Thank you so much.
Hi, so I'm from Agricultural University, New Mexico State University, and our researchers have sort of taken to AI like ducks to water. Like, the agricultural researchers, they're using it to monitor plant health and to monitor for pathogens. They're using it for research on improving pollen allergies, and it's been fascinating. The teaching faculty are feeling sort of hesitant about it. So it's interesting to watch the two different groups interact and talk about what they like and don't like. And we've been organizing some AI-related panels at the library so the two groups can chat and like sort of trade ideas.
Thank you. Max, do you want to share some what we experienced? Just kidding. All right, maybe this is also something you can take with you, discussing next to a glass of wine. I think everybody is ready for a wrap-up. Thank you very, very much for your attention, and I really hope you enjoyed the conference.